Hello and welcome back to the Watford Way today for your Brentford versus Watford pre-match preview. How is everybody doing? I'm doing very, very well, and quite a lot to discuss today. Quite a lot happening with previous Watford players. We'll discuss about that in just a second as well. I've got a notepad up on my computer in front of me here. Got Jose Holebas to talk about. Brentford, obviously, without Ivan Toney and Sergi Canos for this game. Messina expected to be back from injury sooner than first thought. Obviously, we got the FA Cup draw to discuss, which I'm not very happy about. And I'll give you my score prediction for the game as well. So thank you very much for watching. I can see VJ in chat. I can see Daniel in chat. Adam in chat as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. And we'll get straight into the first bit of news before we obviously talk about the game. And that bit of news is that Jose Holebas, obviously the guy notorious for picking up yellow cards for Watford in the Premier League. I think he got a record in a season for Watford. I think it was something like 13 or 14. If someone knows, please put it in chat. But yeah, Jose Holebas retiring from football. He's terminated his contract. I'm not sure what team he was playing for. I think he was 37, 38 years old, and he's terminated his contract today. And that was coming from an outlet we saw on Twitter. I think Voices of the Vic actually tweeted about it first. So yeah, obviously very, very happy for Jose Holebas. Hope he has a great retirement. And, he was fantastic at Watford when he played. He obviously had a few issues with the fans at times. But yeah, Jose Holebas retiring from football. I just thought I'd bring that to you at the start of this stream. And let's move on to Brentford. Obviously, that's what we're here to talk about today. And the good news, which we knew about last week, but it obviously does affect this game as well. Number one, we play on Friday. Don't get confused. It's Friday night football this week. So 8 p.m. kickoff on Friday. We'll be here on the Watford Way covering the game. But the second point I want to make is that Brentford will be without Ivan Toney and Sergi Canos for this game. Two very, very attacking, important players for Brentford. In the Championship, they were both fantastic. Sergi Canos is a flair player as well. And they're both unavailable for this game due to COVID. So tested positive for COVID. It's probably 5 or 6 days ago now. But the rules for footballers and just anyone in general is that you have to isolate for 10 days. Obviously, that's what they're doing currently. But that does mean, obviously, it means they're going to miss the Watford game, which is fantastic news, obviously, because Ivan Toney is their talismanic player. Troy Deeney was ours. He's obviously gone on to leave. But Ivan Toney, scores the goals for Brentford. He scored nearly 30 goals in the Championship last season. He's had a decent season so far this year in the Premier League, albeit probably not scoring as much as he would have liked. Obviously, I wish them both the best. Catching COVID isn't nice for anyone, but in terms of Watford and how it affects the game, it benefits us because they're two fantastic players for Brentford. Now, obviously, the same could happen to Watford in a week's time. Dennis, King, they could catch COVID and we could be without them for a couple of games. So it's all swings and roundabouts, really. I think we obviously got to take it as a positive. And yeah, Ivan Toney and Sergi Canos unavailable for Brentford. Talking about more players that are unavailable for this game, Adam Messina, of course, picked up a groin injury against Manchester United. Initially, it was thought he'd be out for quite a long time. It looked like quite a serious muscular injury. You can never be sure with muscle injuries whether it's going to be really, really long. Sometimes they can end people's seasons. They can end people's careers. Sometimes players can pick up groin injuries and they recur for the rest of their careers. I think Jack Wilshere's had that issue a few times as well. So they can be quite serious, but luckily for Watford, it's not too serious. Adam Messina expected to be back within about 20 days. So he could potentially still be going to the African Cup of Nations. But positive news for Watford that Adam Messina is due to be back. Obviously, a lot quicker than expected. I think Danny Rose has looked out of his depth in recent games. I'm not going to lie about that. I discussed that in my Manchester City match reaction. If you've not seen that, I discussed that Danny Rose, against quick, skillful players, he struggles. He struggles a lot, and unfortunately, most Premier League teams, bar Burnley, have quite skillful attacking players. So I think for me, the quicker we can get Messina back, the better. But obviously, I'm still hoping Danny Rose can up his performance levels, a lot higher than where they are currently. Because Danny Rose at the moment, he just doesn't look like a Premier League footballer, and it's really disappointing for me to sit here and say that. But he just doesn't look like a Premier League footballer at the moment. So hopefully, Danny Rose can take this opportunity while he's got it. Because he wouldn't, Danny Rose doesn't want to sit on the bench for Adam Messina, and I'm sure Adam Messina wants to win his place back. So obviously, great news there that Messina's coming back. I think I saw today as well that Sirielta was training with the first team, which is fantastic. We've got Kabasele, who's fully back now. I think Kabasele seems to be available to play whenever. So if Claudio Ranieri does call upon Christian Kabasele, that's it's positive for Watford that we're starting to get these injured players back. Ken Sema looks to be back as well. So we're starting to get a few players back, obviously. The main one we don't have back is Myla Sarr, which seems to be a very, very long-term issue, which is such a shame because he's so talented. He creates so many chances. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm disappointed not to have Sarr back, but positive that we are starting to of course, regain some of these injured players. I just want to talk about the importance of the upcoming fixtures as well. I'll get them up in front of me here. So I think it is important that we discuss these. Again, I briefly mentioned this in my Manchester City reaction, but the next 3, 4, 5 games even are very, very crucial for Watford's season, and they can potentially determine whether we stay in the Premier League or not, which is crazy for me to say. But when I read the teams that we have to play out now, you'll understand why I'm saying that. So we've obviously got Brentford coming up this Friday. Next Wednesday we've got Burnley. Then we've got Crystal Palace at home. Then we've got Wolves away, and then we've got West Ham at home on the 28th of December. So pretty much for the rest of this month, we are coming up against teams that we should be looking to get points from. I don't expect Watford to beat Manchester City. I don't expect Watford to beat Chelsea. What I do expect is Watford to give Brentford a good game. I expect us to give Palace a good game. Obviously, the return of Will Hughes. So yeah, very, very crucial run of fixtures coming up for Watford now. It's going to be interesting to see, obviously, how we get on, because we've seen good performances in recent weeks. I thought the Arsenal performance was good. I thought, obviously, the Manchester United performance was exceptional. Chelsea performance was very, very good. Manchester City, not so much. But, as I just said, I don't expect us to compete with them teams. They're way out of our league. They're in their own league almost. They're fighting for top 4. We're in our own league fighting against people who are trying to avoid relegation. Burnley are struggling massively this season. They'll target Watford as a game they can potentially win. I know Maxwell Cornet is on fantastic form for them. I think we've got a Burnley fan actually coming on the channel on Monday to discuss all things Burnley, which will be good to talk to them about that. But yeah, very, very crucial games. I mean, Daniel says West Ham will not be a win. Maybe in previous years that might have been a win. I think this year West Ham, obviously they're fantastic this year. I think David Moyes has got them playing great football. Antonio's on fire. Bowen's on fire. Lanzini as well has come back and made an impact. So they've got very, very good players, West Ham. Obviously, I think they're in the top 4 currently, aren't they? I mean, they just beat Chelsea in the Premier League as well. So I think out of them fixtures that I just read out, West Ham's obviously the toughest test. But even, seeing Watford beat Man United, seeing us give Chelsea a good test, I see no reason why, I see no reason why we can't challenge West Ham. I think that's something that the squad should be aiming to do. Leicester FA Cup draw. I'm just reading through my notes on things to discuss. We've got Leicester in the FA Cup. Watford were ball number 41 in the draw. They did the draw on the St Albans Boreham Wood game. I don't know if anyone watched that. Obviously, it's a local derby in Hertfordshire. Boreham Wood, St Albans, Watford. They're all very, very close together. You might not know that if you're an international fan. So if St Albans won, we could have had a Watford versus St Albans FA Cup tie. That's not the case, unfortunately. It's quite a boring draw, to be honest. I don't know about you, but I couldn't care less about the FA Cup this season. For me, it's all about staying in the Premier League, whether we do it by 1 point, goal difference, a goal off someone's bum. I don't care. As long as we stay in the Premier League, that is my aim for this season. But we've got Leicester, in the FA Cup, away from home, first week of January. I think it's played between the 7th and 9th of January. Let me just get my facts right here. Yes, the 7th to the 9th of January, the matches will be played. And to be honest, I would just play our reserve team in that game. I'm not really entirely fussed about the FA Cup, to be honest. Obviously we had the fantastic FA Cup run under Javi Gracia, which was fantastic. And actually, Watford have probably had more success in the FA Cup in recent seasons than most teams. So I think for this season, until we get ourselves established back in the Premier League, I'd rather give the FA Cup a miss, if I'm being totally honest. I know it'd be great to go on a cup run. And, if we beat Leicester and we get drawn against a lower league team, then maybe I'll start to get excited. But at this current moment, with the very, very important games Watford have coming up, I'd rather not risk any players in the FA Cup. But obviously, you guys could think differently to that. But I just think for me personally, this year, let's just give it a miss. I usually sit here and read the Watford injury news that they put on the website. I'm expecting that will come tomorrow because the game's on Friday. Usually they release that on Wednesday, but they've obviously done it slightly differently this week because the game's at a different time. But I think they'll obviously probably mention that the Messina news that I've talked about today. I think that come via a Moroccan outlet. I saw that on Twitter earlier today. So hopefully that's semi-reliable, because if it's not, I'll be very, very gutted. But yeah, that was the news I saw earlier today. Adam Messina expected back from injury within the next 20 days or so, which is obviously still a long time. And even when he does come back from injury, I'd expect him to go straight to Morocco, to the African Cup of Nations. So yeah, good news for Watford, but not really that good news in a sense, because he still obviously might end up going to AFCON, which is a bit of a shame. Back to Brentford and how I think the game is going to go. Brentford obviously newly promoted with Watford this season. Brentford come up via the playoffs, and Norwich and Watford. I nearly forgot how Brentford got promoted there. I'm ever so sorry. But yeah, they got promoted via the playoffs. Watford got promoted automatically. Obviously, we finished in second place behind Norwich. How do I think this game's going to go? I think it's a difficult one because, as I've said, Brentford are without Ivan Toney. They're without Sergi Canos, two very, very important attacking players for them. But I look at our defence. I look at the fact we've not kept a clean sheet so far this season. That worries me. I think Watford now have the longest, nearly the longest ever record in the Premier League without keeping a clean sheet, which is absolutely mental. And I think for me, it kind of highlights the issue that we have in this Watford squad. I said to Mike from Voices of the Vic, make sure to check that out if you haven't already. I said we've got a Premier League attack and we've got a Championship defence. And ultimately, I think defence will keep you in the Premier League rather than your attack. You can score as many goals as you want, but if you're going to keep conceding goals at the back, that's obviously going to turn into an issue for you. I think in terms of goals scored, Watford are 7th in the Premier League in terms of goals scored. We're up there with United, City, Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea. We can score goals. Scoring goals isn't our problem. Our problem is William Schuster-Kong and Danny Rose and Kiko Feminier and Craig Cathcart and Daniel Batman and Ben Foster. It's the defence. It's the lack of investment in the defence. And, we've seen Ben Wilmot be sold. We've seen Craig Dawson be sold. Imagine if Ben Wilmot and Craig Dawson were in this current Watford squad. There would be such good assets for us. You've seen how well Dawson's done at West Ham, and I don't know whether Watford just wanted to cash in. Don't know whether his wages were an issue, perhaps. But I think with Ben Wilmot, for me, that's the most disappointing one, because he's a promising young English centre-back. Watford got him from Stevenage for a very, very small fee. I think it's about £500,000, if that even. And we've sold him to Stoke. And again, he's gone on He's left Watford, the defenders left Watford, and they've done fantastically well. So I think defensively, it's something they definitely have to look at in January. I've seen a few rumours. I've seen a few articles from the Watford Observer, from various outlets linking Watford with Daniel Amate from Leicester City. I believe his contract expires in the summer, but again, it's just free transfers. You know, we're not going out there and paying a fee for a quality defender. We're waiting for clubs to release their players, and we get the scraps left over from other clubs. I don't like that way of working. Obviously, you know, some free transfers can work out very well. Joshua King's a free transfer. Emmanuel Dennis only cost Watford, £3 million. But I think that Gino Pozzo does need to invest some much needed money in getting us a quality centre back, a quality left back, a quality right back even, because the defence is what is ultimately what is causing Watford issues this season, because as I've said, the evidence is there. Watford are 7th in the Premier League for goals scored. We're in the Europa League places for scoring goals, but we're in the relegation zone for conceding them, and that's where the issue is. And every game, if we go behind every single game, that means we've then got to score 2 goals to win the game. It's unsustainable. It's unsustainable for the players to go out and do that, to expend their energy to every game come back from behind. And for one game, I'd like to score the first goal and go ahead before the opposition. So yeah, that's my little rant on the defence. What to expect from Brentford? Obviously, they play good football. They remind me of Brighton a little bit in how they play. They like the ball on the floor. They've got some good ball players. I think their goalkeepers are absolutely fantastic as well. Defensively, they're a little bit shaky as well. I think they're 2 or 3 points ahead of Watford in the table. So we've not really had massively different seasons. Obviously, Brentford and Watford get treated very, very differently in the media. I think the media favour Brentford for whatever reason. I think the media seem to have an agenda against Watford for the constant sacking of managers, which is a shame. But what's my score prediction for this game? I really want. We've talked so much about the defence in today's preview. I really want a clean sheet. It would make my Christmas. Like, it would be an early Christmas present to me if we could obviously keep a clean sheet in this game. I think that's possible with obviously Ivan Toney missing. Gino Pozzo, a message from me to you. James would very much like a clean sheet for Christmas. Kind regards, the Watford fan base. Thank you very much, Gino. Yes, I would like a clean sheet. I do think we'll score. I'm gutted I can't go to the game because it was in a very, very high away category that I'm not in, because I've not been to enough games, so I couldn't get a ticket. But never mind, it's on Sky Sports, so everyone can watch. I'll be watching here on the Watford Way on Friday night as well. I'm avoiding the score prediction here because I'm worried what I'm going to say. As usual, I'll give you my realistic prediction and I'll give you my optimistic prediction. So realistically, it probably end in a boring draw. 1-1 probably is how I can see it going. I think we will concede because we've conceded in every game this season. If you're a betting man, bet on Watford to concede and you'll become a very, very rich man. So yeah, 1-1 probably is how the game will end. More optimistically, how I think the game should go. I want a clean sheet. I want to see some goals. I want Emmanuel Dennis to keep on scoring. 3-0 Watford, Emmanuel Dennis hat-trick. That would be very, very nice. Thank you very much for watching. Please post your score predictions in the live chat, in the comments down below. Please subscribe to the Watford Way as well. It'd be really, really appreciated. And you can keep up to date with all the latest Watford news, all the latest updates around our page, me, and anything else going on around Watford. You can follow us at the Watford Way on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on Spotify as well, where we sometimes upload audio versions of these match previews, so you can listen to them out and about, if you're walking your dog, on the bus, wherever you may be. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you here back again on Friday for the Brentford match. Watch along. Hopefully, I'll be celebrating a lot of goals and a Premier League clean sheet. Thank you very much, Gino. Invest in some defenders, please. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.